Yo, what is going on, you guys? It's your boy King Sanders here. We are back with another day of sports betting. This is going to be for Friday, Payday, February 24th slate of NBA action. Super excited to dive into it. We have some great matchups to go ahead and, especially from a player prop perspective, man, I'm excited to dive into this. But before we did, I did just want to go ahead and say that we are still currently on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. Next, I did just want to go ahead and give a quick shout out here to all of our members here on the channel. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys do, and thank you guys so much for giving such a small channel such a big chance, as I always say. It truly does mean the absolute world to me, so much more than you guys will ever know. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into a quick recap as of yesterday. Man, we got robbed of a sweep. We literally should be bringing out the Sunnies right now. We should be, going absolutely ballistic, but we'll go ahead and talk about it. So we did end up having Domantas Sabonis over 33.5 points plus rebounds as our King's Kill Shot play of the day. This one hits easily. He ended up having 18 points and 18 rebounds. For a total of 36 points plus rebounds. He had a great game overall, and I'm really glad I added in the rebounds. I was thinking about just doing the points. This is why you take the stats. This is why you take the combos, because of things like this. So I really did like this one. That one worked out for us. Then we had Josh Giddey. Over 30.5 PRAs versus Utah. It wasn't looking good. Was not looking good. He finishes with 24 PRAs in regulation. The game gets sent into overtime, and then he ends up hitting it for us. So Josh Giddey had a great overtime, takes over really in that overtime, and ends up hitting the over for us. Then we had our one loss. We had the Raptors, -5.5 versus the Pelicans at -110. So the way that this game broke down, just in case if you guys didn't see it, coming down in the clutch, Brandon Ingram ends up hitting a pretty big three to put them up by only 2. From there, Pascal Siakam dribbles down the floor. He's kind of running that point forward type of role, which is where he really excels at. Ends up kicking it out to Gary Trent Jr. for a 3. Gary Trent Jr. then ends up, hitting the 3. So it then puts them up by 5 points. They're currently up by 5 points. The Pelicans come down. They end up missing a shot. There's 8 seconds left in the game. The ball ends up going into the hands of Pascal Siakam. The Pelicans tried to foul him, and they fouled him 2 or 3 times, and the refs didn't call anything. Literally didn't call anything. They grabbed his arm like 2 or 3 times, and we ended up losing it because they didn't call a foul. What? It was absolutely wild. Pascal Siakam should have been at the line shooting free throws, and who knows? He could have easily missed both of those free throws. But and even if he ends up making both of them, who's to say that they don't come down the floor and end up hitting another 3, putting them up by 5, and we're in the exact same position? Who knows what would have happened? But it didn't give us a chance because the refs didn't call a foul. It was wild. I could not believe it. They tried to foul him, and it makes sense. They're only down by 5. They still have a reasonable shot if something crazy does happen, but regardless, ended up losing that one. Hopefully we can have another winning day today. We ended up going 2-1, so profit is profit at the end of the day. Definitely not upset with the way that the things worked out, but we were this close, and it really should have had a chance, but it is what it is. We ended up going 2-1. Hopefully we can have another day of profit here. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. So for our first official play of the day, our King's Kill Shot play of the day, we were going with Jordan Poole over 32.5 points plus assists here versus Houston at -105 odds. Now, I know that Jordan Poole is on the second leg of a back-to-back, but in this situation, I really just don't think that it matters. He has gone over in 4 out of his last 6 games, and he had a terrible shooting night last night. He ended up shooting 3 for 13 versus the Los Angeles Lakers. I think this is a spot where he does end up bouncing back in this situation. He's got literally the most perfect matchup of all time with the Houston Rockets, and Klay Thompson usually doesn't play on the second leg of a back-to-back. So with Klay Thompson, obviously a very high-volume shooter, you're taking that out of the equation. It leaves even more points to go around for a guy like Jordan Poole. And I think that with that poor shooting night that he had the night before, I think that he does have a really good night tonight. He also does average more points per game on the road. There's not very many players in the NBA that do average more points on the road than they do at home. Jordan Poole is one of those guys, so I really do like the situation there. In Houston, like I said, you can't get much more perfect of a matchup, especially to the point guard position, than the Houston Rockets. They allow the most points per game and the most assists per game to opposing point guards on the entire year, and they also allow the most three-pointers made to opposing point guards. And we all know Jordan Poole, once he sees one or two go down, he's firing them. So I think that Jordan Poole does have a pretty big night here. Houston also does allow the 6th most points per game to opposing teams in general, and they have the 3rd worst defensive efficiency in all of basketball. The Houston Rockets, they're a very young team. They're still trying to figure things out, but they are not a good defense. They're just not, and I think that Jordan Poole is going to be able to take advantage of it, especially after that rough shooting night. I think he's going to be the guy that swoops in and ends up stepping up for us. So I really do like this one here for our first official play of the day. Jordan Poole over 32.5 points plus assists versus Houston at minus 105 odds. Now for our second official play of the day, we're taking Trae Young over 35.5 points plus assists as well versus Cleveland at minus 105 odds. Now if you only have one of these, I would lean towards his assists. He's been a lot more consistent, especially to his straight assist line, but I really do like both of them. He has gone over in 3 out of his last 4 games just in general. He was really good going into the All-Star break, and I think he carries that momentum over once again. He has also gone over in 3 out of his last 4 games here versus Cleveland, and the one loss that he did end up having was right on the hook. So I know that the Cavs are a very good defense. I know that they're going to make things tough on a guy like Trae Young, but I think he is going to be able to overcome it. The Cavs in the last 7 games do allow the 7th most assists per game to opposing point guards. So that does obviously boost up that assist category once again, but if you take a look at the line is a little bit weird here. The Cavs are underdogs in this situation. The Cavs are obviously a very good team, but if you think about it, the Cavs are on the second leg of a back-to-back. Is somebody going to sit in this game? I don't know. But realistically, the Cavs are underdogs in this one, and the Cavs are not underdogs very often. The Hawks also haven't been the greatest cover team in this year, so I do think that the Hawks actually end up winning and covering in this one, and if the Hawks end up doing that, Trae Young is going to have to be that guy. So I really do like Trae Young's numbers here. A lot of times we do like to target unders versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, but I think this is a spot he does end up going over. Trae Young also does average more points per game and assists per game at home this year. He's a better home player than he is on the road, as opposed to like Jordan Poole, as I had mentioned in the last one. But Trae Young does average more points per game and assists per game at home this year, and the Cavs are on the second leg of a back-to-back off of a tough loss versus the Denver Nuggets, so they had to travel from Denver all the way to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. So I think that's going to weigh in just a little bit too, maybe slow down their defense just a little bit. So I really do like this one here for our second official play of the day. Trae Young over 35.5 points plus assists here versus Cleveland at minus 105 odds. Now for our third and final play of the day, we are taking Jalen Brunson over 26.5 points here versus Washington at minus 115 odds. Now I do like the look here. I think that it is a very solid look. The stats aren't exactly there to back it up, but Jalen Brunson has been one of the more consistent guys here for New York. Another good look was Julius Randle, but with Mitchell Robinson being back, it just kind of scared me away just a little bit because I liked the points plus rebounds for Julius Randle a little bit more. But with with Robinson potentially coming back, it does scare me off just a little bit. But I do like Brunson here. I think he is able to get it done. He has gone over in 4 straight games, and he has gone over in both of the games that he has played in New York versus this Washington Wizards team. So I think he is able to get it done for us once again. And Washington does allow the 14th most points per game to opposing point guards. So it's not like a huge advantage. It's kind of right in that middle echelon. But Jalen Brunson is good enough to overcome something like that. And Washington is also 17th in defensive efficiency. So even though they haven't been great, they are in the bottom half when it comes to defensive efficiency. And let's be honest, we all know the way that the New York Knicks work, all their starters play 35 plus minutes, and Jalen Brunson is getting a ton of those shots. RJ Barrett hasn't necessarily taken nearly as many shots as Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. So with that being said, a lot of these shots are going to go to Jalen Brunson, and he's been very efficient. If you take a look at his last 5 or 6 box scores, he's been a ridiculously efficient player. So if he can keep that going, I think that we see a pretty big night here out of Jalen Brunson. I think he is able to get to 30 pretty easily. So if you wanted to sprinkle a little bit on that, I think he ends up getting that done too. The Knicks the spread is very, very close as well. So with the spread being so close, I think that this is going to be a game that does go back and forth. So it's just going to be a matter of if Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle shows up, and maybe even both. There's a world that both end up showing up as well. So I really do like this play here, though, for our third and final play of the day. Jalen Brunson over 26.5 points here versus Washington at minus 115 odds. Now, for our consensus play of the day, we are going to be going to the Kings and the Clippers game. Currently, the Clippers are 6.5-point favorites. The only injury as of right now from both sides of the equation is it looks like Zubac is going to be out here for the Clippers. Outside of that, there are no injuries. So from left to right, we do have Brady. Brady is going to be taking the Clippers. We do have Mitch. Mitch is going to be taking the Kings. We do have Ryan. Ryan is going to be taking the Clippers. And we do have Seth. Seth is going to be taking the Kings as well. So it is 2-2. It does come down to me. And personally, I do think that the Clippers end up taking this one. I know that this spread's a little bit big. I know that the Kings have been pretty good on the road. But even with Zubac out, the Clippers are still a pretty solid team, and it looks like everybody's going to be playing. So with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, I think that this is going to be a spot that the Clippers do end up winning and covering, especially since the Kings are on a second leg of a back-to-back. They're not a tremendous cover team on the second leg of a back-to-back, and I know that this spread is a little big, but I think the Clippers do end up getting it done. I think there's a world that they end up winning by double digits as well. So I really do like this one here for the consensus play of the day. 3 cappers, 2-2. Clippers minus 6.5 here versus the Kings at minus 110 odds. So that is going to do it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you guys know whenever I post. So hopefully we can string together some winning days before the playoffs end up hitting and have some profit going into the playoffs. I know that we've been a little bit shaky, but having a winning day yesterday really showed me that we can still have some profit. So like I said, we are still on the road to 12,000 subscribers. So if you guys are new, make sure that you guys are subbed. But that's going to do it for me. This is King Center signing out. Peace.